Oh, okay.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody: friends, neighbors, family members, co workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Welcome to Let's Get Uncomfortable with
Attorney Wendy Williams and Reverend Attorney Aaron J. McLeod. Miss Attorney, it is so good to see you on this evening, rather, excuse me. We are here today to talk and get uncomfortable with some pressing topics that are availing themselves to our community to make us better, to push us forward. How you doing today, Miss Attorney?
Well, I'm doing fantastic. I feel fantastic. You know, we'll at some point we're going to have to talk about a show about health, because I was very uncomfortable this morning when I awakened, but now I'm very comfortable and ready to get uncomfortable on this show.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, on today for our show, we have a what I would call a provocative topic, one that will help draw us to some necessary conclusions about our community and how we can be better. And to that end, on today, we are entitling this episode, Are We Better Together? Are we better together? Are we better together? And with that, we're not just asking casually, we're going to take a deeper dive into what makes partnerships actually work, whether it's intimate relationships, business collaborations, friendships, or spiritual relationships, one that are fostered or facilitated within our religious community. And so with that, just really excited to unpack this topic. Are we better together? Are we good partners? What makes us good partners? So what are the foundations of a good partnership? What do you think about that, Mr. Attorney? You there, Mr. Attorney?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You didn't miss me at all.
All right.
All right. All right. So where did we leave off at?
We are leading our discussion tonight on are we better together? Are we
That's
better
correct.
together?
And wasn't that was an interesting topic we developed, wasn't it?
It was. Let's talk about how we came up with that topic.
Okay. So there's a gentleman by the name of John Hope Bryant. I hope he doesn't mind that we kind of sprang off of his platform. It was excellent. And what John Hope Bryant did was compare the experience of the African American as opposed to the Africans who were colonized, and as opposed to the Africans of the West Indies. And he made two really distinct comparisons, contrasts and comparisons. He said that the West Indians and the Africans may have been freer longer, which means more of their culture, more of their language, more of their food, more of their traditions, even more of their religious practices were kept in place. But the economic opportunities were not there. So you find them migrating into the United States with strong family values because their families were not ripped and torn apart like they were in the Americans, in the Americas, in the North America, as a matter of fact, in the United States. And the United States Africans' experience was far more harsher, far more peculiar, and really greatly inhumane. The lynchings, the burnings, the no rights, the Dred Scott decisions as early as 1857, a complete civil war over whether or not the South would have to pay more taxes per head for their enslaved group, as opposed to the North, who were paying way more taxes and thought that it should be a little bit more equitable between the North and the South. And we're caught up in the middle. And we're caught up in such a way where, we may talk about this casually, but it was a painstaking, horrific experience with no rights, with no ability to respond, no self-protection, and at a certain point, a low self-esteem and the brutalization of the family. Now, in the Caribbeans, probably in the South Americas, the religions and the behaviors of the slaveholders was just a little bit more humane, maybe about this much more humane. And also, those Africans that were kidnapped and enslaved in those areas far outnumbered the slave holders that were in those areas. So consequently, their families were stronger, and with stronger family ties, you have a higher self-esteem. Now the two meet. And there's a brother, I think they call him Tony Merck or something, M-E-R-C. He does a real good job of saying or in his podcast, Africans outside of the American Africans experience should be more aware of what that experience was for us, how it tore down our families, how men were held down while their wives and children were brutalized, while their belongings were burned, while all their efforts, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, it continued even after that. And some people would say even to today in areas around this country. The book was written, 100 Years of Lynching. That didn't taper off until about the 60s. And what we had, as Dr. King put in place, was media. Now, having said all that, John Hope Bryant poses the question, are we better together? And the answer is definitely yes. And I mean, as far as the African diaspora, we definitely colonized, freed in the 1700s, or freed after the Civil War. We now have to sit down together and collectively acknowledge those experiences. Now, but at the micro level is the family. And so John proposes the question, are we better together? The answer is yes. Today on Let's Get Uncomfortable, we're going to discuss those different relationships, business, love affairs, family, mother, father, parents, children. Those relationship bonds will have to be elevated to the highest of the self-esteem that the family can achieve. So how do we do that? We're going to find out today. And some of this might make you very uncomfortable.
Yeah. When you look at, I love how you broke down the dichotomy of, in essence, the African diaspora, how we are showing ourselves as a community in the first world, contemporarily speaking, and the diversification of experiences really speaks to this whole notion that we are not monolithic, even though our skins resemble similarities. And our cultural nuance based off of our experience, particularly how we landed here in America, and in first world countries like Great Britain and in Brazil, definitely provides context of our dissimilarities. And so with that, I think that John Hope Bryant, who is an amazing brother, I think his message is very consistent. I love to hear him talk. I think to a certain extent, in light of the aptitude of the average African American from a financial perspective, sometimes they may not be able to comprehend some of the things that he's saying, but he has Black people's best interest at hand.
You could tell.
Yeah. And, the adage is, travel light, travel far. And then you also have these adages about if you want to go far, go together. Two diametric bits of wisdom that I think ring true in certain situations. But for our survival, for the betterment of the African American community within its multi dimensions and facets, we must learn how to work together. And with that, we fail if we just are brutally honest about our partnerships, the lack thereof, and our willingness to sacrifice and be each brothers and sisters keepers for the betterment of the whole. And we see um, recurringly that our counterparts of European persuasions will make us think that there is no solidarity between them. But at the first opportunity to show solidarity at the expense of people of color, they will do it. That's not conspiracy theory. That's not me being angry Black man. It just is what it is.
It's a social political fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's documented.
Yes, empirically, right? And so, to that end, we must show some resolve. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on that are this. I hope tonight we can take a look at some themes. One of those is we'll explore how to evaluate if we're in a good partnership. We'll preview themes like jealousy, insecurity, mutual enhancement, inspiration. And we'll look at, hopefully by the end of this hour, you'll have some tools, everyone that's listening to us today, or, listening to us at all at some other time. We're hoping that there'll be some tools to assess every major relationship in our lives. And so, I don't know. Do we want to do this when we come back? Because we want to kick off.
Let's do this when we come back, because we can't start off juicy and then be interrupted. So let's go to our first break. Let's take a look at our sponsors and let's hear from them.
All right.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health.
Qualifies as a good partnership within the context of being an intimate partner?
Well, first of all, let's just go right for it. Self-esteem issues. Self-esteem. You know, Tupac said in a movie, Poetic Justice. No, it was Juice. It was Juice. He said in Juice, I hate myself. So you know I hate you. And that is probably as deep as you can probably go to start working through that, unpacking the self-hate. And my dating question. What was it like growing up with mom and dad? Because if you didn't see, if a relationship of value with added value was not modeled for you, then there's a very good chance you won't know. One, where your self-esteem lies. Two, that you've been traumatized. And three, now how do you get out of it? How do you get out of that? Where do you learn to be better together? Where do you learn that? And we know some of the things that has to be addressed. If you see, and you know me, if you see criminal activity, violence in the family, holics or addicts, and mental illness, it's just going to be hard. I mean, 32 years of law practice, I came down to those four. I can't even find 5, 6, 7, and 8, because if you're coming out of environment like that, 9 times out of 10, if you don't address it before you get married, you're going to drag all of that into the relationship. If you don't address those issues before you have children with someone, you're going to drag all that in, and then we're going to get that spiraling generation of issues. You got to get that out, because I'm telling you, those 4 things are comprehensive. And I didn't invent them. I just gathered the information year after year after year. What's the problem? Okay, so now you're past that. Okay, better together now looks like this to me. You come together in a relationship, I say, with each other's best interest at heart. Because you would want someone to keep your best interest at heart. And that looks like, gee, I wonder if I need to prepare his clothes or prepare her breakfast this morning, or, Jimmy Kimmel's wife gets up in the morning and she tells Jimmy, oh, he's at it again, and he just,
Welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. Join us each week on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Central, live on Facebook and YouTube on the Female Solution page, as we dive into powerful topics designed to assist you in mastering your life force. Our conversations feature a diverse lineup of experts, all dedicated to your growth. Tune in weekly to discover new ways to elevate your spirit and raise your vibration. And remember, we are ascending.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also 3 sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Within the religious context, we talk about the bride and loving unconditionally and providing and protecting. And we see it, within the Judeo-Christian perspective that a man is supposed to be a priest, a provider, and protector of his household. But then we also see within wisdom literature the Proverbs 31 woman. And so to that end, this whole notion of putting emphasis on intimacy and relationships and partnership is key. And then even in secular religious, young lady who I follow, talks about successful people. By and large, majority of high net wealth individuals are married. And within that, they're focused and they're working and they're putting time and effort into making that partnership work. But I'm going to digress and go back to your point that you're making, Ms. Attorney.
Barack and Michelle. I think that's the most documented relationship that we have in the African American community, because he wrote the book, Dreams of My Father, and The Audacity to Hope, and then everything else he has written that may include how their relationship works. That's better together.
Mm-hmm.
That's better together. I like Jimmy Kimmel's and Molly's relationship. It looks from a distance better, together. I don't know if Jimmy has written a book or Molly has written a book about their experiences, but we know Barack and Michelle have written numerous books, several books, and his first two really spoke to, the difficulties, like trying to understand that he's running for political office, his trying to understand that she wants more help with the kids and balancing all that. And remember, they're right here from Chicago. So some of us had kind of a front row seat to what they were experiencing. But look at them, they're better together. So, now Rev, you were talking about some of the biblical citations that can help encourage, a couple. And I think couples do well when they are in society or in intra relationships with other couples, because they can share and they can strengthen each other. They can support each other. And as Michelle said, she and Barack were supposed to see Rob Reiner and Michelle later that evening when the unfortunate happened, and they have entered immortality before Michelle and Barack could meet with them at that time. So these couples, they strengthen each other, and we need some of that. Some of that helps. Keeping your spouse and in environments where that can be not enforced, but encouraged and supported. Support groups.
It's interesting. I've been following, in particular, Black couples on social media.
Oh, nice.
And they're talking about, as they end out the year, that they're doing vision board sessions. They're giving these vignettes about boundaries as far as uh, what they do together, what they do apart, and they come off as looking healthy. They come off as looking sane, but more specifically, what's clear from what they project is that they're organized within the agreement of the partnership. And for a lot of us, we don't even start with that. We start with the physicality. We start with the, oh, we're together now because default. Sometimes children, sometimes this is the best option out. Um, it's for a lot of people, no matter your race, creed, social, your origin, but definitely your social location. We're not starting out with an article of organization or a blueprint or a path on what this partnership looks like. And I think you bring up a very, very um, meaningful fact that Michelle and Barack have documented their life. And for those who read and are intelligent, and that's not so much to say that you can regurgitate facts, but you can process information. Um, it's good to process and to take their story as a blueprint of what modern day practical partnership looks like, because a lot of people don't have models. Can't hear you.
I know. And what, I don't know, my phone, listen, a gremlin must be in the control room or something. I didn't even tell you, see, my hands were right here and it just went off. But one of the foundations that you speak to is the wisdom in literature. And I just want to, isn't this interesting? I'm going to do your part here. And that is Ecclesiastics 4:9-12, two are better than one. For those of you listening, you can check the details. Proverbs, the noble partner, trustworthy, brings good and not harm. That's huge. A girl was on a dating site once, and she said, "I'm good. I got my resources. I'm happy. I'm looking for someone who is not going to disrupt that I already have." So that's part of what we see in Proverbs, if you will. We see a trustworthy relationship brings good and not harm, worth more than rubies. And the application is character and integrity matter more than extreme or external, qualities. Proverbs 27:17, iron sharpens iron. Partners should challenge and refine each other with the best interest at heart, not competitively, but with their best interests at heart, especially if you have determined that that relationship you're in is with a person who has some aptitude. The application would be a good intimate partner facilitates growth and not stagnation. And lastly, the Song of Solomon, celebrating intimacy, mutual delight and affirmation. Application is the joy and celebration that should characterize intimate bonds. And all of that's going to go straight to credibility, reliability, intimacy, and low self-orientation. The team is the first mindset. What would you remember the bracelet everybody used to wear? What would Jesus do? It's a moral question. It's a more if you can't figure it out, what would Jesus do? You see, and when you set that standard, you reach for it. Trust me, you will find it. So I'd like to add to this discussion that we've got to take the time. I have so many friends or clients who say, "Oh, but he was speaking so sweetly." What's the song? Plucking my heart with his fingers, or
Killing me softly.
Killing me softly with words. And I'm usually outside of that relationship, And she's hearing one thing, but I'm seeing and hearing something else, you know. And I do my best to kind of, Wendy, be quiet, because you don't know how they're going to work this out between them. So I try to be that girlfriend that just listens, but I'm listening for my friend heading towards a cliff, and I might just do a little pullback, and I may say, well, how did you feel when he said that? You know, uh, what do you think he meant by that? You know, without saying, girl, I'm telling you, that's the wrong man, you know, without going there, you know. And and my girlfriends are smart and they're intelligent, and you know, sometimes they just want you to listen to how they're receiving the information. But I'm still kind of like, I hear something else, because you know he doesn't have his tongue in my ear. He's got his tongue in your ear. So
Mr. Attorney,
I can see exactly what's going on here, and I just like hoping and praying that it's just part of the magic of romance.
now, Mr. Attorney, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Mhm.
All right. But we're going to come back and answer this question. I'm going to give it to you
Good.
after this break. But my question to you is, what does love got to do with it? Come back, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey family, this is Charles Humphrey of MCH Publishing, and I'm here with Ashada, and we at the Soulful Chicago Book what?
This is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, slamming.
We getting down in Hyde Park. Just run it down, my sister. Just tell us, for the people, a little bit about what we're doing here today and why.
You know, this is the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair, and this month is very important. I feel like we don't give it the type of recognition that it needs. But beyond that, I do all things literary, and we have so many ancestors that have taken a tradition of writing and done great things. Well, we have those of us that are carrying on that tradition, and nobody knows about them until now. So the Soulful Chicago Black History Book Fair is allowing us to tell our stories according to ourselves for our own benefit. And it's just beautiful. I mean, she could have been here today if you wasn't here, but if you were, it's been amazing. People came in consistently, children, and we have children's authors, we have nonfiction authors, we have fiction authors. This is really good, and it's about taking our own power in our own hands and doing what we do on the literary tip, though.
Right.
I gotta work, but I can't help it. Everything going too smooth. Now I just about bring my African shit like this. Bring in the African shit.
What's up, guys? It's Osada, the host of the Gathering of the Griots podcast, part of the Female Solution. Want you to join us every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. And guess what we do? We interview authors of the Soulful Chicago Book Fair. The books, the experiences, the lifestyles, all of it with fervor. So be there right on the Soulful Chicago Book Fair YouTube page or on the Female Solution Facebook page. We look forward to having you and all our literary essence. Peace.
That. My question to you is, what does love got to do with it, right? Earlier today, I was meeting with a client, and we were talking about asset protection, and I said, hey, if you are going to get married going forward, business owner, BMW, black man working and exuding great ingenuity. I said, you need to come talk with me. I said, because we need to make sure that there is a plan in place for you to be successful if you choose to be married. And with that, I said, we're not projecting that you need to be married, but if you choose to be married, I said, this is not, a nebulous conversation that we used to see on Martin, what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours. No, the marriage in its simplest format is the first contract. It is the first business arrangement, particularly for thinking people, those who are rational, those who really are informed. And so with that, we talked about what Michelle and Barack did and how they were successful. And then even people might push back and say, oh, well, that's based off the empire standards. But nonetheless,
Empire standards?
Yeah, imperialistic, that they are reflective of the power structure, right? They were the ones who were put forward to, they were the choice, the pick, if you will. And so everybody can't be Michelle and Barack, but arguably we can be reflective of some of the things that they did together as far as the business aspect of relationship. So what does love have to do with business partnerships, right? In the institution of marriage, in the institution of civil unions, or within the institution of operating an institution, be it a for-profit, a nonprofit, the partnership.
Well, you got to care. What happened to that part? Everything is not systematic. No, it can't be. You know why? Because nothing is linear. Everything is yin, yang. Today you're up, tomorrow you're down. Today you feel great. Mars is in Capricorn, the moon is in Libra. Vedic astrology, I don't know, numerology. There's so many, psychology. There's so many crazy things that are part of what makes for a caring person or a caring relationship. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because it's hard to, some of this is chemistry, and if we don't get too carried away with the oxytocin and the testosterone and the estrogen, if we know how to harness that, sometimes when I'm talking to myself and even to my girlfriends, I'll say, is this my oxytocin talking, or am I being reasonable? See, to me, there's nothing wrong with love, sex, romance, all that good stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. But how much of that is important to the whole context? And the whole context is a full circle. I say it's about 10%. The rest of it is, I can treat you, not my husband, with the same respect and care as my partner in this podcast. Okay, to care about you. If you got sick and your wife was not there, I'm coming over with the soup. You know how many times we have been in close encounters of the third time when it comes to practicing law. And you call me at 6:30 in the morning, and if you need me, I'm going to be there no matter what. You see what I'm saying? Because I care about what happens to you. That's what love has to do with it. I know the song is, real trendy and, snappy and stuff. But at the end of the day, that really doesn't help you. That helps her now. She got all of her Grammy awards for that. And we like that kind of stuff. But in the early morning light, when the sun is rising on the horizon and is right in your face, love and care does have a lot to do with it. Even with the emojis now, I think they have a love emoji, then they have a care emoji. You have to, first of all, you have to like yourself. Now, get back to John Hope Bryant. You have to like yourself. And if you don't like yourself, then how are you going to like anyone else? If you don't care for yourself, your teeth, your hair, your body odor. I went to get a massage today. I cared about the masseuse. So I put on a nice fragrant body oil and I scrubbed my feet so that she doesn't have to have an unpleasant experience with my body. I remove the nail polish, so I don't, what do you care about yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Then to care about others. When I'm at the grocery store, I shop for a family and I say, oh, you know what? She's gonna like the tiramisu, or he doesn't eat beef, he doesn't eat pork. That's caring. And those kind of things, once my brother said something to me once. He said something about, are you there, Reggie? I think he's behind me now. And Reggie, remember the time you asked me about sharing space in the bathroom? This is something real simple. My brother said, you don't leave any space for me in the bathroom. And I got, come on into the camera. We're live. This is my brother. And one day he asked me, wave at the people.
Okay, I can't see where I'm at. Where am I?
Right here.
Okay.
The world renowned.
Yeah, Reggie
Reg. We love you, brother.
Yeah,
Hey, what's
love
going
you,
on, man?
Peace, brother. Peace.
Yes, sir.
And
he blessed me when I was a youngster on Def Comedy Jam. Thank you for your work, sir. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's what's up, man. No doubt.
And so, this is my brother. And I tell him all the time, I said, I don't care how mad I get with you, you're still my brother. And also, and when he asked me, because you know how women are in the bathroom, we spread out, And he said, are you going to leave me any room in the bathroom? I said, sure. So I went out and bought the apparatus that he would need to store his, things in the bathroom. That's what love has to do with it.
Now, to your point.
I'm glad he's not here, but I used to change his diapers.
And to your point, okay. Right?
Yeah.
As linear as I was making it out to be, I'm glad that you pushed back, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's several dimensions of love, right? Eros, erotic love, philia, brotherly love, storge, a love agape. That's where I was going. Agape, the unconditional love, right? Because there are people in relationships. I heard a young lady say one time that, particularly utilizing men, that you have men who may like being intimate with women, having sex with women, like certain interactions, but they may not actually like or love or respect.
It's just a physical
But my point in saying that is just because of physical attraction does not equate to care and concern, right?
No, it doesn't. It's transactional, as the kids would say today. This is all transactional.
But I find that, in particular, my business relationships, in my community partnerships, I don't engage if there is no care and concern and compassion, right? And sometimes we universally are partnered with people where that compassion or that care factor is questionable, right? The ups and downs that you're talking about, the yin and yang. For my wife, I want for her to be taken care of. I want, if something were to happen to me, I want her life to be an extinction of my caretaking that I think I provide. I know I provide now that I'm alive. And I'm not so egotistical that I would say that if something happened to me, that I would not want somebody to come in and be her priest, her provider, protector, because I want her to be cared for.
Yeah.
But with that, that came from a friendship, that came from, even with the ups and downs of relationship, that comes, there's something that comes with it, but it comes with how I, to your point, love myself, love my mother, love my sister, and want that to be projected on onto women in my life, right? Be it my wife, be it my business partners who are women, as well as men, right? I want them to be whole. So to your point, the distinction that I'm trying to make is that this whole notion of relationship intimately, as far as the physicality, I think is overrated. But if I see something in you whereby I want you in my space, I want to see you better, I want to ensure that your future is brighter, that is the undercurrent of love, agape, contextually, that I think we take for granted. In particular, is not present in a lot of relationships. I won't say most relationships, but as we talk about the toxicity, the divorce rates, the money, we really have not prepared ourselves to be partners, to be better together, because for a lot of us, we don't know where to start.
Right, but there's no model. First of all, okay, so here's what happens, and I talk about this a lot when people are recovering from bad situations. Number one, what does therapy do for you? It raises your self-esteem. Because now you visit the trauma of your childhood. And as you work with the therapist, she does wonderful stuff like triggers you and gets all this out the way. So when you leave her office, if someone triggers you, you're not stabbing them in the middle of the night while they're in their bed. Okay, because you're not having those kind of hallucinations. So you got to work on the childhood trauma, the beatings, the rapes, the molestation, the incest, all that stuff that's back here that you're trying to suppress. And then you go out and put your best face on to get married. And then all of a sudden that monster comes from, and the guy wakes up or the girl wakes up and she's got a monster in bed. What's your name again? R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy, right? Okay. Then after you learn, boy, those were not good decisions. After you learn that, then I say you need coaching. And they develop life coaching, because you can get thrown out of therapy brainstorming with them unless that therapist is willing to also do some life coaching with you. And then after life coaching, you can pick up a book and get some advice. Like we do as lawyers, we go to whatever that information is in that book, and we can synthesize that. It's called critical thinking skills, because we're reading, we're understanding, and at our hearts, we understand we're good enough, we're smart enough, and people like us. So we're experiencing life now. We're dealing with our trauma through therapy. We don't impose our childhood issues on our intended or the object of our affection. We deal with that. If you're going to go out with somebody on Friday night, go to a meeting, go to an AA meeting, go to an Al-Anon meeting, dump all that there, and not on while you're roller skating or while you're dancing or while you're watching a football game or doing trivia stuff. Don't, I know, right?
You're fine.
No, someone let the cat in here. And he just dominates whenever he comes in. He wants all this attention.
Quick question, Mr. Turner.
Yes.
TLC had a song where the hook says, "What about your friends? Will they be around?" Now, when we come back after this break,
yes,
I need you to opine about friendship. What determines if somebody should be in your inner circle or your outer circle? You need to stay the hell away from those people. Come back, join us with the last portion of our show after we hear from our sponsors. That's a lovely cat.
This is Pootie.
Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, Our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health.
We began, we finished working out, which was a very difficult criminal case, looking at 15 to 21 years, and it came way down from that. And so not everybody's going to like you. And in fact, I didn't think she liked me during the time period. It didn't stop me from being fierce, and it didn't stop her, if she did not like me, from doing her job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she did her job. Now, to me, friendships, whew, some friendships are about as close as some intimate relationships, you know what I'm saying, without the sex. Some friendships can be really close,
Mm-hmm.
but platonic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the analysis, if you will, is still the same. Where are you with your trauma of your childhood? Have you worked that out? Where are you on your addictions? And that includes shopaholic, vapors, casual marijuana smokers, all of that. So how do I manage that? I just try to be with people where I can be with them. If they're going to smoke marijuana, which is now legal, I'm not going.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple. If it's the wrong kind of guy, I'm not going to okay it, but I'm going to be quiet. And I tell all my girlfriends, remember now, I'm a lawyer, so I read a lot of police reports and a lot of psych evals. So I'm not like some of your other girlfriends who are like, oh, and girl. Usually I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, she doesn't know this guy this is not going to make it. But I try to be a girlfriend. And sometimes they'll call me up and say, I just want you to listen. Okay, I'll just listen. That's a friendship. That's how you work through some of that. And then there's a time when you grab your friend by the collar and you say, no, you're not going. And I'm not going to let you go. You're not going to do that. Now, I don't have friends who have horrible drug problems. I don't have friends that have deep criminal involvements. I don't have those kinds of friends. So I'm kind of lucky that way. But I get to interact because they're usually it's my client base, but it's usually not my friendship base. So it goes back to the same thing, Rev. Do you have this person's best interests at heart?
Mm-hmm.
Is your self-esteem, this goes all the way back, we're going to segue all the way back to John Hope Bryant. That's where we have to work this thing out as a people, as an African diaspora. What was your experience like with colonization? What was your experience like with apartheid? What was it like to be in Haiti paying the French back all this money? What was it like to be enslaved in what was it like to be enslaved in Mississippi on Jefferson Davis's plantation? And we did our genealogy and found out our ancestors were on the Jefferson Davis plantation. I could have fainted. And he did that without Henry Louis Gates. So, what was that experience like? An African once said about African Americans, he said, they ain't Africans, those are Americans. He had a point. Our behavior, our way of thinking about relationships and everything, is it African-centered? Like the sister Marimba Ani says in her book, Yurugu, Yurugu. And she analyzes the European-centered behavior by using an African model, which we understand to be what? The first model. Because we're the first people on the planet. So how were we interacting with each other? What were we doing? How were we, interacting with each other? So when we start talking about the conversation, which is where this is. You and I took it to intimacy, partnerships, platonic friendships, but he was talking about a people as a whole. And there's going to be and has to be a lot of healing and dialogue that takes place, just like when you're sitting in group therapy. Hi, my name is Wende, and I'm an alcoholic, or I'm part of the African diaspora. I'm a descendant, ADOS, a descendant of a slave in America. You know, I'm a person of color. I'm from Guatemala. We have to sit down and I'm an African whose first language is Spanish. I don't know my African language because I wasn't able to receive that culture. Remember Kunta Kinte, they kept calling, what was the name they kept calling Kunta? I forget. Toby. Yeah, Toby. So he loses his culture. You know, what does it mean to go out and say, this is the only thing that is greater than yourself? Mm-hmm. To the point that they're out here in the backyard somewhere in Chicago saying, Daddy, why are you out in the backyard, with the baby? I don't know. It just seems like something that we've always done in our family. When there was a full out celebration. Yes. About behold, the only thing greater than yourself. You know what, Reb? We're coming down to the last few minutes. I think we need to continue this.
You're absolutely right. We'll come back.
We're going to do a part 2.
We'll do a part 2 on this one because we got to flush out the utility of these spiritual connections as well. And are they doing us any good or are they doing us harm? So we're so thankful for you all tuning in today for Let's Get Uncomfortable show with Aaron and Wende. Are we better together? Stay tuned for part 2. We're thankful for this wonderful broadcast that allows us to come and share insight. I really enjoyed you today, Miss Attorney.
And I enjoy being here every Wednesday with you, the first and the third Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. on Let's Get Uncomfortable show, sponsored by The Female Solution.
Amen. Happy holidays. Be blessed.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jared. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.